So if you've seen Star Wars, you've probably wondered, why do they swing their sabers in such intricate patterns? Why not just be random? It's better to surprise the enemy that way, right? But that would be wrong. There's a specific reason why they move the lightsabers the way that they do. And that is not just because it looks cool on the screen. There are several different forms of lightsaber combat. There are 7 forms. And their names are Form 1, Shaicho, Form 2, Makashi, Form 3, Soruso, Form 4, Arturo, Form 5, Shin and Demso, Form 6, Niman, and Form 7, Joho and Vapad. Now, I'm not going to talk about all the different forms today. I'm going to do those in separate videos and like a whole series. I'm going to talk about why they use different forms of lightsaber combat and how each person's style of fighting is different and how they can take different sections of each form and put them together to create each their own unique fighting style that is still controlled and within the same pattern that has been suggested by every other fighter of the same styles. Now, if you watched Attack of the Clones, you would notice Cat Fisto in the arena. He mainly uses Form 1, Chai Cho. Shai Cho. That's pretty interesting. And he's, like every Jedi and Sith, learned how to use Form 1, but very few work on mastering Form 1, because it is the weakest and not good against deflecting blaster bolts or other sabers. It's the basics of the skill. Which is why Kit Fisto is not a very good duelist, even though he did last second longest against Palpatine in Revenge of the Sith. Now for Form 2, one of the users of Makashi would be Count Dooku. He is an expert duelist, because Form 2 is meant to fight against other people with lightsabers. And kind of like fencing from today, which is why he always uses one hand and has a curved hilt for better controlled strikes. And why he always looks like he's fencing. That's partially because the actor who played him used to do fencing, and he derived this form of lightsaber combat from his fencing experience. Now for Form 3, Soruso, there are several different users. To name one of them was Master Obi-Wan Kenobi, because that's the best form for deflecting blaster bolts. He was known to be able to have an impenetrable shield. Nobody could come in past his guard. Count Dooku did beat him in Attack of the Clones because Form 2 is stronger against Form 3. You'd have to use Form 5 to beat Form 2 of lightsabers, because they all have their strengths and weaknesses, and defense is not good against the attacking version of Form 2. Now for Form 4, Arturo, Yoda is one of the prominent members of that. Because it's really good for small members, because it's really acrobatic form. So really Yoda and a bunch of other Anakin also used it. Now for Form 5, Shen and Demso, Anakin is actually the main user of this. You see him use that in his fight against Count Dooku on the Invisible Hand, the ship that rescued Chancellor Palpatine. And that's how he beats Count Dooku, because Form 5, its powered strikes, is good against Form 2, because it is not meant to take against power hits, more fast and closely centered hits over a specific area. Now Form 6, Niman, Darth Maul is one of the users. It's a more defensive style, but it's really hard to beat a user of Niman, because it's an offensive style and also a defensive style. It's really good for a lot of people, but most of people using multiple lightsabers or two-bladed lightsabers, like Darth Maul did. He didn't have a lot of opening weaknesses. That is the mark of a true master of Form 6. Now Form 7 would be Mace Windu. He is a powerful user of this form, and he also invented Vapad, which harnesses your opponent's dark side and uses it to your advantage. You have to be careful in Vapad, because that can pull you easily to the dark side. When Mace Windu was a really strong Jedi, because he was able to resist the pull of Vapad, for several years of using it. He taught his apprentice Vapad, but sadly his apprentice fell to the dark side. Now, each Jedi is taught all of the forms except Vapad. Vapad is strictly regulated by Mace Windu, and only the strongest Jedi can use it. Not only the strongest, but the most mentally strong Jedi can use it. Which means every other Jedi is trained in every single of the 6 forms until they find one they specialize in, but they're still decent at all of them, so that they can fight in any battle. That brings us to the end of today's video on lightsaber combat. I'll see y'all in a couple days. Mando Theory, out.
This is the way.